All right, so I want to go into exactly how this thing is attacking the body and how it's so what's the word? Contagious.
Okay, yeah. Well, the reason why it's so contagious is because you can contract it because it's airborne. It can be airborne.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people you see are wearing the surgical masks. Those are the masks that you put around the ears, and they kind of like flap out here.
Yeah.
Well, since it's airborne, it won't matter because when you breathe in, you're breathing air in through here. So you still can get it with that type of mask. A surgical mask was made for a surgeon during surgery. It's actually to protect the patient, not the actual surgeon. It's so that when the surgeon is operating, he doesn't drip into the patient's wound. So it's not to protect the surgeon, it's actually to protect the patient.
So we look dumb. Like when you see people, we look real dumb with the mask on. Like, yo, what are you doing?
It's good, like, let's say, for instance, if you have coronavirus and you cough, then you're helping the environment. But still, like, you cough, it can go out here too.
Right.
So in all actuality, that mask doesn't really help. But and then the other point so that's why it's so contagious is because it can be airborne.
Gotcha.
And the other reason is because you have to think about we're in a global time.
Yeah.
Like, I could be talking to you here right now, go catch a flight, and I can be in China tomorrow. You understand? And so because we live in those type of times, that's why it's so easy for it to go pandemic, which means that it goes global, instead of epidemic, which means it's just located in China. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha. So it's in the air. So it's not necessarily just like close interaction like this, like I get it from you.
Right.
Like Corey's over there, she's breathing it, she has it, I can breathe it too.
Right.
How far does the distance travel?
Well, we don't know that. And because you got to understand, it's air. And air itself can travel.
Right.
Like, you ever been walking and somebody ran by you and you felt the air?
Yeah.
So, like, you can breathe out, have corona, they run by you, take that air with them. So you can't really necessarily determine, like, how far, what distance, that sort of thing. And so that's why you hear, people coming up with these new terms like social distancing to keep yourself from getting the virus or what have you. So
is that why they're trying to lock everybody in their own little house or whatever, just to kind of keep the air fresh?
I guess, man.
You feel like it's a government takeover a little bit.
I feel like I have a unique position, and my unique position is this. There's a thing called natural selection. Natural selection is a process by which, when an organism becomes so adapted to their environment, it increases their rate for survival and increases their ability to produce offspring. Key phrase is organism becomes better adapted to their environment.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if you becoming a better adapted to your environment is essentially this: eating nature, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, provides you with immunity. You get zinc, you get vitamin C, phytochemicals, a host of things that help protect you and build your immunity, right? And those who are able to get those resources, who are able to eat really well, those are the people who are better apt to survive, right? And so when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, most people aren't eating those things.
Right.
You understand? So due to natural selection, you see more people dying of things that most people shouldn't die of. So you see people dying of the flu quite often. As a matter of fact, if you go on the CDC's website, they actually have a statistic that shows from October 1st to about February 20th, we had between 12,000 and 60,000 people die of flu in America. So 12,000 and between 12 and 60,000 people have died between October and February. Okay, this is normal. Like, it's so normal, you haven't heard of that statistic. It's so normal that only about 3,600 people have died in China, but that gets more news. You understand?
Right.
So, like, what I'm trying to help you understand is that the fourth leading cause of death for all humans is respiratory infections.
Mhm.
That's the fourth leading cause of death. And when you start to think about it in the grand scheme of things, we don't eat healthy,
Mhm.
right? We stress,
Right.
we're dehydrated, we don't sleep enough, we don't build immunity anymore, because how you build immunity is when a baby comes out through the vaginal canal, it's like getting a swab of good bacteria. That's the first exposure to good bacteria to go inside of their body and start building immunity.
Right.
Most people have C-sections now.
Mhm.
The second way we introduce immunity to the body is through nursing, breastfeeding. Most people don't breastfeed anymore.
Right.
The other way we get it is through germ immunity, meaning playing in the dirt, playing with other kids. Most kids don't play anymore and go outside anymore.
Wow.
So when you start to think about it, through natural selection, a lot of people aren't just going to make it because they're not using what nature has evolved with us.
Right.
The fruits, the vegetables, the nuts and seeds, normal or childbirth, breastfeeding,
Right.
being outside in the sun, which produces vitamin D in our body that then boosts our immune system.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So like, unfortunately, it's not just one thing. A lot of people are saying one thing, like wash your hands. And I'm not saying washing your hands isn't a good thing. I'm just saying we're not doing all the other stuff.
Right.
You know, and because we're not doing all the other stuff through a natural selection process, the people who are weak, immunity-wise, are falling off and dying at a higher rate.
From a health care perspective, do you feel like they're trying to kind of just create this natural selection, like, yo, the strong survive, like population control kind of?
I look at it like I have a different perspective.
Yeah, I love hearing your perspective.
It's like you have one person, like my favorite movie is The Matrix. He goes, I have this pill, the red pill. I have this pill, the blue pill. What society is currently doing is giving you a red pill and a blue pill, right? And everybody is choosing the wrong pill. They're choosing the pill that he's doing like this, because you can say, I got a red pill and I got a blue pill. Right?
Right.
And so like you can automatically think, I think I need to go with this, or maybe he nudged
all my
me.
friends got that one.
Right.
Yeah,
So when you see a commercial that says got milk, you think, oh, I need to get milk in my body. But the current studies, not the old studies, the current studies said not only is milk isn't good for you because it increases allergies, it increases the inflammation, it increases constipation, and a whole host of other things, including cancer, it actually makes your bones more brittle.
Really?
And they did these studies
I
in
thought
Europe.
milk makes strong bones.
No.
If it don't do nothing, milk's supposed to make strong
Actually,
bones.
what it does is, because milk has a sugar in it called lactose, it actually makes your body acidic. And so your body now has to buffer that acidity. When I say buffer, it has to keep the pH around about 7.35. So now your pH is dropping low. Now it's got to buffer that by increasing the pH. One of the most alkaline things you have in your body is calcium. 99% of all calcium is in your bones, in your teeth. So now when it has to buffer it, it's pulling calcium out of the bone, pulling calcium out of the teeth. Okay? And what is that going to do? Increase cavities, increase brittle bones. That's why you see a lot of elderly who have high rate for bone fractures, that sort of thing. So,
So at the end of the day, is there nothing we can do about corona?
of course.
Or are you saying if we eat right, we're more immune?
Well, what I say is when you eat the right things, because people always say like, WTF should I eat? You know, what the hell should I eat, doc? Like, okay, you saying I can't eat this, they saying I can't eat that. There's so much confusion and misinformation out there. But what I'm saying is
Vegucation. Those are all the answers.
Yeah. And so that's why I named the book Vegucation over Medication. Because the truth is, like, think about any medication. No medication has ever cured anything. It only treats. Treatment is like this. It doesn't make you more alive. It doesn't quite make you more dead. What it does is it makes you right in the middle. like a zombie.
Yeah.
You're able to just continue to function enough to go to work, pay your bills, pay for your medications. But you can't have a lot of energy. You never get better. Like you've never seen anybody who started on one blood pressure medication who didn't end up on 2, 3, 4, and 5. Same thing with diabetics. They start on one, they end up on 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then finally insulin. They always get worse progressively because it's treating it, meaning it's treating the number. And so you can make the number lower or normal, but it doesn't mean that the body isn't still disintegrating. The body isn't still getting worse just because the number is adjusted. The damage is still occurring. The havoc is still being wreaked on your body.
Gotcha.
So what I'm saying is what we need to do is not only adopt a plant-based lifestyle, which has all the phytonutrients that fight cancer, that has all the minerals, things like iron. People know, like, when you have an iron deficiency, there are side effects. You know you have an iron. You're eating a whole bunch of ice. You have low energy. You feel cold all the time. Like, there's symptoms from having a mineral deficiency. The same thing with vitamin D.
How do you get more iron?
Well, it's the same thing. Like, it comes from the ground.
Because I'd be cold, man.
Yeah, like...
I'd be cold
but
sometimes. Like,
that's the thing. Like, minerals come from the ground. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing I was talking about with getting immunity by playing in the dirt. Like, I remember being a kid eating a mud pie because this girl was so cute. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, she was like, here, and I was like, And so, you know, but because we're in nature, playing in the dirt, you know, because like my grandmother had like fruit trees in the backyard, you know, we were just always exposed to things that were in nature. So we were putting them in our bodies, but now we're not.
Gotcha.
So what I'm saying is we have to return to nature. The other thing is don't stress. Like, this coronavirus is just like the flu. When you look at the symptoms of the coronavirus, it's like the flu and the cold. Runny nose, sometimes coughing, you know, mucus production, shortness of breath, all the symptoms you would see with the flu and a cold or like a bronchitis infection, upper or lower. It's the same symptoms. And the other thing, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, the reason why China was a little bit more deadly was for a few reasons. A, they smoke a lot there, way more here than here in the US. Because you're able to do advertisements there. Like, you put a billboard up with somebody cool smoking a cigarette. You can't do that here anymore. It's illegal. So smoking rates are higher there, which means that they're going to have more resins. And this is a respiratory disease. The other thing you have to think about, there were 3,600 deaths there, but also China has 2 billion people there. So number-wise, you can't compare America to China because we only have 250 million. Now, if you're a billionaire like Jay-Z, you understand, like, when somebody say, I got 250 million, you'd be like, nah, I got 2 billion. You know there's a huge difference. It's not just a little. It's like, it's a huge difference. And so when you look at the numbers, you can't look at them the same. And so, like, a lot of times when people are out there and looking at the numbers, that's what I'm trying to help them understand. It's a little bit different. You can't look at it the same.
Gotcha.
It's way different. And so I guess what I'm trying to say in the grand scheme of things is we can do something. We can keep our bodies clean. Because when your body isn't clean, you can't build immunity. Just think about it. Like, this gut is responsible for a lot of things. Like, people think they're eating food and getting value out of it, but if the lining of your gut is filled with fecal matter from decades ago, if you got 10 to 25 pounds of undigested food in your gut and you're eating, you think you absorbing a lot of that nutrients? And now think about, even if you're not eating a healthy diet, which doesn't have a lot of nutrients in the first place, you're definitely not getting it. So that's why it's first important to clean out your body, because your body is designed to fight viruses, meaning antibiotics don't fight viruses. Vaccines don't even. What vaccines do is they give you a weakened form of the actual virus. So they take the coronavirus strain or the flu virus or whatever you want to call it. They take it, they give you a dead form of it. So they make it not alive and they give it to you, right? And then your immune system is able to fight against this weakened pathogen, right? And then you have two branches of your immune system: innate, which is for immediate response. That's like if you get a cut and you want to prevent, it from getting infected. Then you have adaptive, which is memory. It means it's like a sniper. It sees something foreign, like a virus come in, it shoots it, put a tag on, and it says, I know I have a treatment plan for when this comes back. So that's why a lot of times when people take, a vaccine or something, they never get it again. But our bodies are set up to do that anyway. I used to do vaccination, but my vaccination growing up was my grandmother sending me in the room with my cousin who had chicken pox.
Right.
And then I get chicken pox and I never have to worry about it again.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Like when people say, do you vaccinate? I'm like, yeah, I do.
So it's like the flu shot. So you're saying in the flu shot, they're giving you a dead flu cell.
Yeah.
So that your body can, well, not dead, but weakened.
Yeah.
So that your body says, oh, there's a weak one. Let's jump them.
Right.
And then eventually when they see more, it's like, yo, I know how to attack this.
Right. But my position with viruses, because viruses are very different from bacteria and fungus.
Right.
Like,
is flu shot the same as corona?
Well,
I mean, COVID.
COVID-19 and then influenza, they act in a very similar way. Meaning the protein receptors, they call it corona because a corona is like the sun. And that's what the actual coronavirus looks like.
Gotcha.
It looks like a corona of a sun.
Wow.
All right? And so that's why they call it coronavirus. All right? But the protein receptors on it, they can either have the type of receptors that only attach in your nose and then you'll have a runny nose. Or they can have the kind that can get down, the type of receptors that can get into the lung tissues, and then that's when you get the respiratory infection.
Gotcha. So that's the difference between like when you're sick, I got a cold. You got a head cold or a chest cold?
Exactly.
And it's the receptor is attacking one of those.
Yeah. So in terms of, is it the same or they're different in how they work, but they do the same thing. They attach to the same place. They cause the same issues. You understand? So
does COVID just have a whole bunch of receptors that attacks everything?
No. Nobody's bleeding out their eyes. No, like everybody is having the same symptoms they would have if they had the flu.
Right.
And I think what we do is we put another name on something and we think that it's very different. That's what I was saying in the beginning. In science, we just separate everything. But if it were up to me, I'd be like, oh, this is another flu.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say another. I would just say this is the flu. It does the same thing. You understand?
Gotcha.
I wouldn't even put another name on it. There's no need for that. Like, it's a waste of time. It's more something out of a store in my memory bank. Like, I wouldn't even put another name on it. You understand? And when you look at things historically, you have to understand before the 1900s, before humans started, industrializing food, the number one killer of human beings was infection. You understand that? So viruses have been around since the beginning of time, before humans, before animals. They're going to always be around. And the reason why is because viruses aren't dead or alive. They just get inside of your cell and take control of your machinery and start mass duplicating themselves. So when they're saying you're killing a virus, you can't kill a virus. Like, it's not alive to be killed.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
So can you manufacture a virus?
Yeah.
Like, if there were some evil people in the world that said, I want to spread this.
Of course. Because you can go inside, splice DNA and change DNA, make something have receptors to attach here and do this. You can take versions of HIV and take some DNA code out and add some DNA code in from another virus. Like, yeah, you can do all of that.
Wow.
Yeah, but like we do that with studies in a petri dish. So, yeah, that's very common.
Dang.
And I'm not saying that we're creating viruses intentionally because I don't know anything about that. But what I'm saying, it's super possible.
So, okay, all right, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, and like I said before, like, think about it with this. Like, I can't patent an apple. Why?
Because it's nature.
Because it's nature. Yeah. But you can go online and check. There's certain viruses that have patents.
Wow. So there's some people that created a virus that this is mine. I own this. You can't make it the way I made it.
I'm just gonna say that you can't patent an apple. but there's viruses and diseases that have a patent.
Why would someone want to patent a disease?
I don't think like that. So I wouldn't know. Like I only think holistically. I only think
It
healing.
seems like all this information would make you a bit of a pessimist, a little bit, because you get like it's like you see everything. Like Neo in the Matrix, he's like, yo, that's not even steak. That's crazy. Yo, that person isn't a real person. You see so much. So,
yeah. But when you see that, it's like for me, and my view on life is a little bit different. But like, I don't view this body as my last saving grace. Like when this body is gone, then I'll probably instantly die and then wake up coming out of a vaginal canal in Peru.
So you think you like after you die, you're like recreated as another person?
I hadn't died, so I don't know. But what I'm saying to you is I believe that the soul is infinite.
Yeah, for sure.
And so like my stake is in my soul, not in my body. And so when it's time to leave this body, like there's no need for me to have any attachments to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm here to serve a purpose, and my purpose is to help people heal. And not only just physically, but mentally and spiritually. And so that's why, for me, my idea is to help people create this calm and peace in their life, because it's a default state. It's not something to attain, it's something we've gotten away from. And so I don't think like that. Yeah. Why people would do something like that.
Right.
And the other thing is I'm good at is none of my business.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Sure. Like my business is to be as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
My business is to enjoy life. My business is to help other people. It ain't none of my business why people want to do that. Like I will never be able to understand that because it's not how my brain is wired. I wouldn't be able to think. Because everybody thinks they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Nazis thought they were doing the right thing.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not wired to think why this would be the right thing.
Wow. So what is your mission right now in detail? Like what do you like wake up every day and think this is what I'm going to go do?
Well, the first thing I think is, I wake up like ready. Like I wake up ready because, man, I've been given so many opportunities in my life that a lot of people that I grew up with didn't have. And so I'm always so full of gratitude because of that. And I always have the examples there, like growing up, like people just falling off and disintegrating and falling into situations. Like I always have those examples. And so I'm just in this ultimate state of gratitude all the time because I realize how thankful I should be because for some reason I wasn't one of those statistics. And so like for me, I wake up and think gratitude first. And then after that, I think I don't want to die before I finish what I came here to do. And so I get to it, man. And so I really believe that part of my purpose being here is to help inspire people into a higher version of themselves and also to help people see what they don't see. And I think that's the purpose of all friends and family and people you love is to bring to the light that which is in the dark. And so that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not specifically trying to do that in any way, even though right now it's plants, it seems like it's just plants. But I want to get beyond that conversation. But the truth of the matter is if you eat a certain kind of way, you can't think a certain kind of way. You can't hear what I say. It won't make sense to you. Because there's certain things that people said to me way early in my journey to help me avoid a lot of the things I needed to avoid, but I couldn't hear them. I couldn't hear them. But now when people speak to me, even in the slightest way, I'm able to hear it. And it resonates with me. And so that's what I want to do is help people understand that this body is like a Bentley. You can't put regular gas in it. Like you got to go premium petrol every time.
I love it. Are you married, Bobby?
Nah.
Are you dating?
Yeah.
Yo, could you date somebody that's not vegan?
That'll be tough.
That'll be tough.
Because again, like it's about how the gas you put in determines the function. Meaning like I understand what food does to people. because I've been a food chemist. I'm a nutritionist. I've seen it in the hospitals, like people in their 30s and 40s with the amount of disease that's happening at this age where they should be in their prime.
Right.
And so I understand that when I date somebody, there's a certain thinking there. And I'm not saying that people who eat meat and dairy aren't intelligent and can't be intelligent, but you have to move beyond intelligence. You have to move into compassion. You have to move into like thinking spiritually. You have to move into a space where you're able to download things from places the same way the Wi-Fi has no connection. You have to have that connection in that download space.
What if they have that connection? They just like steak.
But then I understand that what state is going to give them in life, health-wise.
Yeah.
And now I have to be there to take care of them.
Yeah.
You know, there's this lady in Florida. She's maybe in her 70s or 80s, but she looks like she's 30 because she's been plant-based for over 30 years. Now, she started the journey 30, 40 years ago, and her husband didn't. Her husband looks 80. You understand? It's about choice, man.
Yeah.
And so you have to, I understand that in dating, I'll be making a choice. If somebody chooses to eat that way, I have to accept that about them. I can't tolerate them. If I tolerate them, I'm going to be saying, you eat that way and I still love you.
Right.
If I accept them, it means I have to say, I accept that if you get sick, I'm going to take care of you, which I do. Even if somebody is vegan, you know, it doesn't mean that you're going to be healthy because some people eat vegan junk food, right?
Yeah.
You know, but if you eat healthy, plant-based vegan, then essentially you have no worries when it comes to health, except stepping off of a corner and getting ran over by or somebody giving you a knife or a shiv in the back or something like that. But essentially you have no health concerns.
Wow.
You know, so.
That is awesome. So look, Bobby's up for grabs, y'all. Okay. As of this moment, right? All right. So real quick, man, I want to wrap up with a question that I ask every guest that's on here. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Accomplishing what in the next 5 to 10 years? You know, by God's grace, we're still here.
Yeah.
Just so that we can look back at this interview and say, wow, I remember Dr. Bobbi said he was going to cure cancer. And he did. Look, or, you know what I mean? Like, so what do you think you'll accomplish or where do you think you'll be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I hope at that point, I hope to have a farm with a wellness bed and breakfast there so that people it'll create an environment for people to sort of get away from society and come into this very sterile, healthy, holistic environment and experience what it feels like to eat well, live well, and be around good energy. So that's one of the things that is really big on my heart, and I know I love to accomplish, if not in this lifetime, essentially get done. And then the other thing is just continue to inspire people, continue to show people the highest version of themselves and show them like pathways to get there, because it's not just one pathway. Gotcha. You know, there definitely wasn't one for me. And I think other than that, just, you know, have my space where I can disappear and, you know, continue to travel and have somebody by my side I love and can share all that with.
Somebody by his side, ladies. You know what I'm saying? He's up for grabs. I'm telling you. Okay, 5 to 10 years, you in his future. Now, let everybody know how they can get in touch with you and tell them, you know, about the cleanse and who needs it.
Yeah, so essentially the cleanse is for everybody because essentially it's like doing an oil change. Like we do an oil change for our cars every 3 to 4 months. We do maintenance on our cars, tune-ups, even get it detailed. Well, we have no processes like that for our bodies. So it's a full body detox and most people haven't did one. So it's essentially for everybody. It's a maintenance plan. It's a health plan. It's a gap plan for those who want to maintain their health and their highest version of thinking and energy, sleep well, that sort of thing. So that's who the cleanse is for. You can go to my website, www.drbobbiprice.com. I'm also on Instagram as Dr. Holistic, DOCTORHOLISTIC. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Dr. Bobbi Price. So
I love it. I love it. Yo, make sure you follow Dr. Bobbi. Yes, he's speaking at Social Proof. Okay, amid the COVID-19 scare, we are going to be doing an online summit. Really, it's going to be the largest online summit that you've ever experienced.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Bro, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's for the people who can't travel, and I feel like we can take this information international because not everybody has this type of access to get this type of information.
Yeah.
Now, some people, they just eat bad because they've never had a chance to talk to you. So they're oblivious to, they see, what the health, or they see like this whole plant-based lifestyle, or they see the healthy junk food and they feel like, oh, well, it's fine. It's healthy. It's an impossible burger. It's impossible. Yo, but first off, I saw, I want to talk about that real quick. Because somebody was like, yo, Google what it is. Like, somebody said, yo, what's in it? I was like, I don't know. It's plant-based. And then I realized that it's genetically modified soy.
Right.
Anything wrong with that?
Yes.
So talk to me about that.
There's a huge amount wrong with that. Well, this first of all, soy has a lot of estrogen in it. And I think that when they compared the estrogen in the Impossible Burger, it was like taking a couple birth control pills. So think about that. The other thing is, with it being genetically modified, and people have the argument, genetically modified is good, genetically modified and bad. In my opinion, I write about it in my book, in the chapter Seeds of Deception. I don't believe any genetically modified anything. Like, a genetically modified human wouldn't be good, right? I always tell people, they like, well, why don't you drink milk? I was like, I don't drink milk for this, the same reason I wouldn't drink milk for calcium in my bones is the same reason I wouldn't use, a cow's blood for a transfusion. It's not meant for me.
Right.
And so, like, anything that's man-made, we haven't evolved with. Mm-hmm. Our bodies won't recognize it. Real recognize real. So, and the other thing is, with anything that's genetically modified, they have to put a lot of pesticides, a lot of herbicides on it. And those pesticides and herbicides, like glyphosate, are cancerous. They're carcinogens. So, in my opinion, it is not a good thing at all. So I don't eat Impossible Burgers. And then you see a lot of people, when they eat it, they have digestive issues right after eating it.
Yeah. Like, what about Beyond Meat? Is that better?
I'll be honest, like, I try to stay away from all that sort of processed meat. If I want to make a burger, like, I can make a plant-based burger.
What would you use?
So I'll use things like mushrooms, lentils, chickpeas, and quinoa. Those things can make a nice little patty for you.
I'm gonna have to come through for dinner one day.
Come through.
I love it. Man, make sure you follow Dr. Bobbi Price. Really just one of the most impressive thinkers that I know.
I appreciate that, bro.
Really, like the way you have a passion for people's livelihood. There's a bunch of motivational speakers that y'all really care about people, but it's more from a motivational perspective. It's not based on research. It's like, saying something to somebody that might feel good, but you literally made this a life study on how to allow people to have a healthier, happier lifestyle. Yeah. And for that, I believe you're probably going to end up with a Nobel Peace Prize or something like that.
What?
I feel like, because you're like literally in a fight and you're saying all the things that nobody wants to talk about, even the plant-based community.
Right.
Because they feel like everything they do is better, but like you really understand the science behind it.
Right.
So I'm no longer drinking Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Kool-Aid.
Out of all that, all I got is no more Kool-Aid. So, make sure you follow Dr. Bobbi Price. We are out of here. Peace.
Peace.